Hi, this is Sally Wood for Be Inspired, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a drum cushion. These are round cushions that fit into some bar stools for a lady. We're doing it in this fabric, and the gentleman that I get my foam from has very kindly pre-cut these into 18-inch circles for me. So let's get on with it. I've got this folded into quarters and I want it 18, so 18 is 9, but I need to make sure that I've made the allowance. I'm going to cut it at 9.5, so I've put the 9.5 at this corner. I'm going to cut up. Now this fabric is a little bit awkward to cut, so I'm going to do it layer by layer. So I'm going to cut up to that corner there, twist it, keeping this on the corner here. But don't go too far, otherwise you'll not have a smooth curve. And you just carry on doing this until you get to the top there. You can hear the grain cutting, which is why I'm doing it layer by layer, because it will twist too much. And the next one, and the next one, until I get to the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this one round, following my curve here, and then again start that, and then layer by layer. Some fabrics are easier to cut like this, but even then I cut, say, 2 layers and then the bottom 2 layers. So you have to decide whether your fabric's going to twist as you cut it or whether it's going to stay firm. Now I have my circle. I need to cut another piece, so I'm going to lay that on top. Now I try to go with the warp and weft thread, so the weft thread is going here and the warp is going up, and I've got that matched up with the fabric underneath. And all I'm going to do is cut round like this until I have all of my circles cut. I need 3 drum pillows, so I need 6 circles cut in total. Always use your template as the master copy. So although I've twisted this, I'm going to reline it and carry on going. Just remember, you can actually pin the master copy to the subsequent layers if you want. That is entirely up to you. Some people put weights on them, some people pin them. I'm just holding it very carefully and cutting around. The piping I'm going to cut at 1.5 inches all the way across. I'll need a number of them, so I usually guess how many I need and then work on from there. So I'm going to cut 3 widths to start off with. And if I need more per side, then I can work out how much more I need per side, and then I can multiply that by the cushion drum tops and bottoms that I have. Now the border is 3 inches, so I'm going to cut it at 4 inches so that I have 1/2 inch seam allowance. And again, I am going to cut this all the way across. Then the zip border, because it's going to have a zip in it, needs to be 2.5 inches wide, and you need 2 of those. So the other markings I'm going to put my halfway mark there. I don't really need one at the top, but I'm going to put one in anyway, just because. The next marking is the start and the finish of the zip. So work out where your center is there and rotate until you have divided the circle into roughly 3 parts. So this would be 1/3. Under here is 2/3. Once you've worked out where you want that, mark along here, not too far in, just about 1/4 inch. So when you open it out, here's the marks. That's 1/3. The border is going to go all the way around 2/3 of the circle or thereabouts. When you've put your markings on your fabric, transfer them onto the next piece that you're going to be working on. Make sure your right facing fabric is facing there, because you want the marks to be lined up. I'm going to put that mark in and this mark in, because those are the important ones. Now this fabric is really hard to tell which is the right side and which is the wrong side. The smoother side is the wrong side and the slightly rougher side is the front facing fabric. So I've got rough side and rough side together, smooth side and smooth side apart. To make the piping up, make sure the right side is up. Put the right side down. It's on a 2.4 stitch length, and I'm going to just pop these together like that. Just put them at right angles and sew from corner to corner, and put as many lengths on as you need. I've just popped the piping in the fold of the fabric. The stitch is on a number 5, and now I'm going to just sew. When you get to a join, split the sections and then cut the seam back to about 1/4 of an inch from the stitch line. Open the seam up, fold the fabric over and carry on sewing. And then make your way to the next one or to the end of your fabric. Although this has been cut on the bias, I have still put some clips in because the fabric is not very giving. I'm going to line the raw edge up with my 1/2 inch mark there. So this is slightly on the inside, and I'm going to just rotate this round. I've got it centered in here and on the longest stitch. And as it goes round, I'm just going to twist everything and keep it in position. Keep it as smooth as you can as you go around. When you come to the back, because I always put the zip at the back, I'm going to cut that over with a generous 2-inch fold over. I'm just going to open these seams up so that I can sew them together. You need to go a little ways so that you have the ability to fold everything where you need to have it folded and joined. You don't want to be too close to where you're joining because it's a bit awkward. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to fold this one over like that at a 45-degree angle and cut. And then when I fold those two together like that, there should be at least 1/2 inch overlap, and there is. So I'm going to fold this one like that. That is so both seams are going in the same direction. If they don't go in the same direction, you're not going to get a nice smooth finish. The easiest way to do this is fold your fabric in half and line the right sides of the fabric together. It's usually just shy of 1/4 of an inch, so about a foot width, and then sew corner to corner on a small stitch. I've got it on 2.4. Raw edges to raw edges. Pull that open and see how well that fits in, and it does. It goes round quite nicely. I've lined the outside edges of the piping together. As I come here, I'm going to cut that back at an angle like that, then pull that out and fold that up, and where that crosses, which is about there, take that out and cut that too. Slot that in on top. You see it goes quite nicely there, and then sew it closed. When that's done, realign it here and sew it into position. Again, using the outside edge of the circle on your 1/2 inch mark. And that should keep it as round as possible. I have my mark here. The seat cushion is up and this is up. I'm going to leave about 2 to 3 inches towards the back of the seat cushion. So long as the heel of the foot is at the opening, that's all that matters. Pop that down. Move my stitch across, just one, and then I'm going to start sewing it. Roll this in against the side of the border. I'm going to do that all the way along. You don't want it to go over too much, because if it does, then you're taking some width out of the border. You want 1/2 inch seam allowance preferably. I'm going to do that all the way to the other clip on the other side. I'm just coming into the second mark, which is here. I'm going to come up and just stop shy of it. Roll your fabric forward. There's the mark going to the back of the chair like that, and I'm going to cut this remaining fabric off. I'm going to put the zip in. I've just folded 1/2 inch over. Pop that there. Make sure that the teeth run along the folded edge of the band here. I'm going to reverse because that's a little ways forward. All I'm going to do is keep folding the band over the 1/2 inch like that, with that on top. Keep the teeth firm on there. You can see it rippling here. Don't worry about that. I'm going to hold that, and hopefully those ripples will go in like this, all the way down. I've folded the second half over. Hold that down there. Now on this, I've actually cut the length I need. I don't usually do that, but I know that this is the length I need. Line the two tops up so they're even. Slide that underneath like that, and then sew all the way along here. Now I tilt this up, so hopefully these teeth will be nicely covered. It's just my personal thing. It just brings it over, and where the two pieces of fabric meet, they meet like that. But if I bring it over and tilt it up, it should have enough fabric over to hide the teeth. Here again, I'm going to do this all the way down the length of the zipper. I'm going to hopefully finish both of these equally. Yeah, if I pull that down, it will be even, like that. I prefer to have the top tooth on my left hand side. Pull that down and I'm going to slide the slider down. You need the lever down because there's little teeth on the back there which will stop it moving, and it sometimes takes one go and sometimes it takes 2 or 3. Even them up and push that down like that and pull, and with a bit of luck the tooth is there. The other way to check is here. If either one of these sides loops out a little bit more than the other, then you know one side or the other is wrong at the top, so you have to start again. With the zip border I've centered it. I'm going to mark it one side and then the other like this. On one side I have the selvage, which I'm just going to fold back. I'm not going to worry about folding it back under, no need. Line this up here like this so that it is equidistant from each end. You can see it's slightly narrower, and that's fine. It's not going to be a problem. Fold that over, slot that underneath the foot and do a straight stitch all the way across. When I get to the teeth I go over and then I'm going to reverse and then forward again. Make sure that that is still facing forward, and on the other side I'm going to fold it up about an inch, 3/4 of an inch at least, like that, and then fold that under so it's nice and even. And again, pop this underneath here, making sure it's equidistant. Actually, I'll cut that little piece back there, otherwise that will stick out. Fold this into place over the teeth like that, and again sew that into position. I'm going to kind of guesstimate there's about an inch on either side for this to be folded over. Pop that under. If it's wrong it won't matter too much as long as it's got that fold. It just stabilizes the end of the zip. When you're putting a big cushion in and you don't have a big opening, that just stops the zip from tearing out. I'm going to just go across, reverse, and because this is a little bit shy I'm going to just run it just on the inside of my 1/2 inch there and sew it into place exactly like I had the other border. And then when I come into the other side, line the circle up. And as you come in, you can see more or less where you're going to land up. Just make sure that the outside raw edges of the wider piece are level, like that, and then sew them into place. And that's one side of the drum cushion sewn in. Now to make sure that the folds are equal, I've folded the new side against the sewn in side like that. Pinch that together, and then finding the clip on the back side of the seat cushion, line it up. I'm actually going to just do one side, so I'm going to open that up like that and slide that under. It's just easier if you do it that way, because when you sew in from the other side it should all even out. Put that down and start sewing. I always do the border side first and then the zip border second. So I'm going to sew all of this in as I did before. I'm just coming into the second clip on the second side. Pull that open and just finish a short distance before you get to the clip. Now here again, fold the border in half, find out where the folds are, like that, pinch it in. Now because this has been sewn over, it's more stable than if I had just put this on. This often just pushes forward and then you don't have a good line. Pinch that in together. Here's the back end of where the zip folds into. Make sure that's behind or underneath the foot. Pop that down. Do maybe 2 or 3 stitches forward and then reverse all the way back over that join. That will hold it in position. Bring everything else flat and that back into position and sew over it. Then just as you did on the other side, run this slightly inside. Sometimes you might have it level, in which case you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to sew all of this second side in. As you come in on the second side, fold that up like you did on the first. Make sure that this is level with the side here. That means it will be even underneath. And then sew it into position. And then go over your stitches like you did before. As with all cushion making, I'm going to spray this and then lay the softer foam on top. Just make sure it's as centered as possible. Cutting circles is a little bit awkward. They don't always end up matching, and that's fine. And then I'll do the other side and pop the other side on there like that. I'm going to let that set up for a little minute. I'm going to cut a disc about 2 to 3 inches wider than the foam all the way around. I'll actually cut 2 matching. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that piece down and that piece up, and I'm going to do a running stitch like this, and then push more of that down and more of that up. It will kind of wrinkle into place, but it won't give you wrinkles. It just pulls in, and do that all the way around the centre until you've got all the way to where you started. Open the zip, always go in front of the zip, not behind, and pull it the right way around. Thank you for joining me on this project. I think they've turned out quite pretty. Not a perfect round, but round enough to fit inside the bar stools. I actually created 3 of these round drum cushions. They're really quite easy to do. I advise you to put your markings in like you would on any other box cushion or a cushion with a border. It makes life a lot easier. Transfer the exact measurements for each pair, and they should go in quite nicely. I hope she likes them. I think she will. If you want to hear more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be absolutely excellent. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.